And now for our orders model. First we will need to create our orders table using the PHP artisan make migrate create orders table. After that we will create our order model, using the PHP artisan make model order command, and then we will create our controller using the PHP artisan make controller order controller command. Now let's add our order columns. Our first one we will add an enum column called status. An enum is a string object with a value chosen from a list of permitted values that are enumerated explicitly in the column specification at table creation time, so inside of it we will add pending, delivered, out for delivery, cancelled and accepted. Next we will add our foreign keys which will be user ID and the location ID. But first we forgot to add a default value to our enum, so let's add one and we will make it pending. Next we will add the total price of type double and we will make it take 12 number with 2 of them being decimals, then we will need our date of delivery column and let's make it a string. Now let's add the foreign ID of the user and the location. Next let's go to our order model and start working there. First we will need to add our fields, so let's add the user ID, location ID, total price, date of delivery and status. Then we will need to add our relationship, so let's add the user relationship and we will make it a belongs to relationship as every order belongs to one user, and we will specify the foreign key as the user ID, and then we will do the same thing to the location. Now let's go to our order controller. The first function we will need is the index function. Inside of it we will get all the orders using pagination and we will set it to 20, and then we will return them as a JSON. But we will need to send the users with them too. So we'll edit our orders retrieval and we will add the with method which retrieves the users associated with the orders by using the users relationship. Now for the show function. The show function will the ID parameter with it and it will be used to search for a specific order, so inside of it we will use the find method to find the order and then we will return the order that we just found in JSON format. But I think we forgot an important thing we need right now. We need to make the order items table to send the items of that order. So let's create the table using the PHP artisan make table and then we need to create a model for it. So let's use the PHP artisan make model command. Now in our order items table we will need first the order ID. And then we will add the quantity of type integer, and then the price of that item of type double, and let's set it to 10 and 2. Now let's add the order ID foreign key, and we will also need the product ID, so let's add it to our table. Now in our model we will add the fields, which is the order ID, product ID, price, and quantity. Then we will start adding our relationships. The first one is the order relationship. We will set it to belongs to, as every item is related to one order, and then the product relationship, which is the same as the order one. Now let's go back to our order controller and edit a few things. Now in our order model we need to add the relationship with the order items model. Let's name it items, and we will make it has many relationship with the order items model. Now let's go to our controller, and in our index function we use for each method on the orders that we just retrieved from the database. We will need 2 for each on the for the orders, and the next one is to access the items in the order using the relationship. Then we will need to get the product using the where method, and we need to pluck the name of that product. The pluck method retrieves only the column that we specified inside of it. So in our case it will fetch only the name of the product, and then we will assign that name into our order items. We are doing this to send the name of the product to our front end with the order items, and then we will just return the orders that we have. And if there is not orders, we will send a message that there is no orders. Now let's make our store function. First we need to get the location of the authenticated user, so we will use the auth ID method, which is a Laravel method, to get the authenticated user ID. And then we will write our validation rules. After our rules, we will need to make a new order object and then assign the fields we have to it, like user ID and location ID, total price and date of delivery. But let's first edit the date of delivery in our migration. Then we will save the new order object. For the order items, let's add them to the validation instead of the product ID. And let's use a for each, as the order items will be sent as an array. After that we will make a new order items object and will assign to it the data that we have: first the order ID, then price, product ID and quantity. Then we will save it to our database. After that we need to get the product to edit its quantity, so we will use the where method and then we will edit its quantity and save it. After that we will return a response JSON with a message order is added, and we will catch any exception we have and return the error message. Now let's make a new function to get the order items. We will need the ID of the order to get its items. First we will get the order items based on the order ID that we just received using the where method. Then we will get the product name just like we did in the index function. we will pluck the name and then add it into the order items. But first let's add some if conditions. So we will add if order items and we will do all that, but what if there is not items? We will just return a no items found message. Now let's make a new function to get a specific user orders. First we will need to get the user order by using the where method on the user ID, and then we will get the items of the orders using the with method. Inside the with method we will use a closure function to filter it by descending order using the created at column. And then we will chain the get method to retrieve it. Now we will say if orders, and inside the if we will use a for each for the items to retrieve the product name just like the previous function. And then we will return the orders if there is any, and if there is no orders we will just return a message and no orders found for this user. Now for our last function in this controller, we will make a function to change the order status. We will need the ID of the order and the request object. We'll find the order from the ID using the find method, and then if there is an order we will update its status. And our AI assistant wrote the update for us with its return, but let's just edit the update into a cleaner way. Both ways works, but I like this one more. And then we need to return a message if there is no order with this ID, and we will return order was not found. Now let's go to our routes and let's add a new route controller, and add our function to it. First we will add the index and then the show with the ID, after that the store method, and then the fet order items with the ID, the get user orders with the ID, and the last one is the change order status with the ID.